Thank you very much for this introduction. Before I start, I just would like to say that I'm a disabled person. I cannot hear well, so if you would like to ask me questions, please come up here because I will not be able to hear from that distance, okay? And this is Europeanization, Westernization of Polish culture, relationship between culture policies and the EU, and the phenomenon of Europeanization. Maybe it sounds difficult or maybe too much complicated, but I'm coming from a really academics area of my interest, and I did a lot of research related to the European studies and European Union culture policy. In fact, my specialization is European Union culture policy. What I would like to present, this is the result of research which I've done with my colleagues from the Institute, Paweł Kubicki and Joanna Orzechowska-Wacławska. This is the book which was published in 2017. The effect of ESK, I will translate it soon, effect of ECOC program. That is the meeting with people which we make interview with from seven cities in Poland. So there is some images from that meeting, from Wrocław and from Gdańsk. Now I will explain you the structure of the research. You know, the Wrocław ECOC in 2016, that was a celebration of European Capital of Culture. The ECOC is the abbreviation for European Capital of Culture Program. European Capital of Culture Program is the EU program introduced in 1985 and dedicates to European cities, you know, to celebrate their culture for the duration of 1 year of time. So year by year, one and now two cities celebrate the title, the prestigious title given by the European Commission, which is called European Capital of Culture. And Wrocław is a second city from Poland, because first city was my city, Krakow, in the year of 2000, had this honor to celebrate the title, and now Wrocław with, 2016, Wrocław and San Sebastian from Spain, these two cities celebrated this European title. And during this time, we did a research as researchers from the Jagiellonian University in Wrocław. So main research question was how the European Capital of Culture competition, not only the last result like a festival in 2016, but competition, how the European Capital of Culture competition in Poland changed in the Polish cities. So that was like a sociological and political research. Then we did this research in the duration between April and September 2016, asking director of cultural agencies, local administrators, representatives of cultural institution activities, and representatives of NGOs about how the European Capital of Culture competition in Poland influenced their cities. Okay. So the cities engaged in the research was Gdańsk, Katowice, Lublin, Łódź, Poland, Szczecin, and Wrocław. So it was not all of them, because 11 cities have been participating in the competition from Poland, but we have chosen this 7th one. So this, you can see the cities. So you can see the most maybe famous, of course, Wrocław, who was a beneficiary of the European Capital of Culture 2016. So Wrocław. Then you can see there is a Katowice city, Poznań, Łódź, Lublin, Gdańsk, and Szczecin. So we have chosen those cities. Why those and not others among 11? Because those cities worked together and closer together for Wrocław 2016. So they organized kind of a coalition of the cities, and they work together, so that we follow, you know, that idea that they are very close to each other for 2016. And then, to make the situation more complicated, I personally focus in this research on these three phenomena, which sound similar, but they are different, like European dimension, Europeness, and Europeanization. As a European study researcher, that is something which is very much interesting to me, how we are going through Europeanization, and what do we think by Europeness and European dimension in a context of European integration processes. That's what I do, and that's my research. And I divided these three phenomena because I think that they have completely different explanation and definitions, such as European dimension is a formal demand of the ECOC application form. So European dimension, in fact, is, in my point of view, this is the area which is defined by European Commission in the application form for the city which wants to have this title European Capital of Culture. Europeness as an idea, as a concept, which refer to European fundamental values, European axiology, humanistic values, human rights, concept of European identity, just at the beginning. Yeah? And Europeanization, I refer to mechanism of the integration processes, and it is defined in European studies as the very theoretical approach. I mean, in European study, we explain Europeanization as a mechanism of European integration processes. And also there you have many approaches in this theory of Europeanization as a mechanism of integration processes. Then European dimension is important because I just rewrite a sentence from the decision NO 1622/2006 European Commission as this requirement, formal requirement from the European Commission to the ECOC, that European dimension consists of stepping up cooperation between cultural operators at all levels. The program must also highlight the richness of Europe's cultural diversity and the shared aspect of European culture. So what is a formal requirement from the European Commission towards cities which would like to participate in the competition and finally win the competition, they should fulfill this requirement, like create cooperation between cultural operators in all levels, then highlight richness of Europe's cultural diversity and shared aspect of European culture, and then citizen is different in different requirements. I didn't went through this requirement in my research. I only covered this first one. These two are obligatory for cities which would like to receive the title in the end. Europeness, I just listed some authors who are dealing with this phenomenon, Europeness, like Berger, Harold, Pesserini. So just to let you know that there is rich literature referred to this phenomenon. Also, the Europeness is somehow written in a treaty establishing constitution for Europe from 2004. It is written in preambula, but also in article, part 1, article 1 to 2. Europeness is deep into democratic and is open to culture, democratic, transparent nature of its public life, peace, justice, and solidarity. So from the very formal point of view, when we are defining culture, European Union axiology, written in the European Union official text, an official treaty, so you can just pick up some elements which give you some idea, like Europeness. Also, the Union is found on the values of respect of human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and respect for human rights, including the rights of personal belonging to minorities. These values are common to the member states. So I refer these values with the idea of Europeness. And Europeanization, again, it is the phenomenon written and covered by many researchers in the area of European studies. And generally speaking, we have Europeanization top-down and bottom-up, and many others, but these are the classic example, like top-down and bottom-up between dynamics between the EU and national levels. I would pay attention to rather early idea. Europeanization refers to the process of construction, B, diffusion, and C, institutionalization of formal and informal rules, procedures, policy paradigm styles, ways of doing things, and shared beliefs and norms which are first defined and consolidated in the making of the EU decisions and then incorporated into the logic of domestic discourse, identities, political structures, and public policies. Of course, rather early refers this definition to the top-down Europeanization, that we have beliefs, we share some beliefs and norms, then these beliefs and norms are defined in the decision-making processes in the EU, and then they are incorporated in the logic of domestic discourse and identities, etc. So you have this this process of top-down, some values through European Union decision to the local decision and national decision, national governmental decisions. And now I'm focused on Wrocław, just images from Wrocław, which was the European capital of culture. And then I'm giving you some responses. I have a lot of time, so I try to quick, you know. So I'm giving you responses of our respondents concerning, you know, these three elements, these three phenomena. So and you can see the mixture, because people respond very, very lively, you know, very openly, and they associate these three phenomena with many different things. So you can see this, like, for example, Europeness. Europeness is regarded as a pattern. If you have this abbreviation, this is responders from Poznań, from Wrocław, etc., and the number of responders. Yeah, the number of responders was 10 responders per city. So Europeness is regarded as a pattern which was born from Greek philosophy and Plato's thought. Its key feature, beauty and goodness. Although the European countries differ from each other in languages, culture, and customs, not that there exists something which led us to speak about the European unity. Second example, Europeness is to show our place in Europe, for example, and also to agree this is the real our place. Yeah, what people, for example, regard as a Europeness. Yeah, or the most important challenge was to accept multiculturalism. And we did it in Poland, yeah, in Poland. We do not want, and not to need to pretend that all tenement houses around us coming from the PS dynasty, in Wrocław, of course, and we keep the message, be open and observe what is happening, yeah. The people would like to, you know, define the Europeness as a complex identity, you know, there's a Polish dynasty with some German, you know, influences. European dimension, this phenomenon which comes from the European Commission requirement, this is the only one which had really, really negative connotations. When you ask people, I mean, they interpreted this European dimension in a quite negative way, like how the city managers and president and government used to treat the European dimension as in fact, how the local government would like to sell ECOC, so they would like to sell ECOC through Stars Festival, commercialization of culture, big event, very commercialized event, and through a program which must attract people, then focus really on looking for the identity of, or looking for culture hidden in some demonstration in culture in the city. So they rather had a distance to this idea. Except this, European dimension was regarded by responders with the idea of European city, for example, idea of European city. So European city means that it would be sexy to walk around instead of driving, that there will be a city for walkers. So the public transport policy will change, as well as arrogant administrative routine, especially to our clients, will be gone. Yeah? That is what Polish people regard as a European dimension. Yeah? They wanted to have a different city. European dimension means change the administration matters in the city, change the city, transform the city into the city for walkers, they will be sexy to walk, not driving, etc. Then European cities manage transparently and implementing participating mechanism of governance. European city must be comfortable, green, with lots of sports facilities, open, vivid market square, etc., etc. So they put a lot of, elements which they could be characterized for the new European cities. Yeah. So that how they regard it. Then professional management, the second element. With the European dimension in a positive sense, So, which is coming back to European dimension, professional international management of culture was born again in the city. Yeah, how they regard that it was reborn the city, that's the European dimension means for them. Suddenly Western experts arrived to Lublin, guys who did believe in the city. Guys, these Western guys believed in the city, not these people who live in the city, okay? They instructed us how to develop the city, how we can go, how we can cooperate with each other in Europe, what is important, how we can build networks. Today, we are familiar with European project, not myth, just reality, yeah? That is what people, again, think in Lublin. We need to know ourselves and our partners, mechanisms of cultural activity in Poland and abroad, what is happening here and there, what cultural trends. So always the interrelationship, and cooperation. What is cooperation? Which is officially written in the European Commission requirement. European dimension, standardization of management and service in cultural venues, in which as well, like brochure, the very simple problem, like brochure written in English. This is something which has changed in Poland, in Polish cities. Brochure about the city, self in galleries and museums, etc. They are finally written and translated into English, and culture offer for foreigners. That was what not happening before on that scale. Yeah, so that has been changed. In past, people used to speak about national events in which, since the ECOC competition, there is no many national cultural events in which mostly international. Yeah. Then Europeanization. To show uniqueness, for example, of Wrocław in Europe, in the uniqueness of Europe in Wrocław, yeah, vice versa, yeah, uniqueness of Wrocław in Europe and uniqueness of Europe in Wrocław. That's what is important for them. We aim Wrocław to be present in European awareness to create our fresh story. It is clear that some Wrocław troubles and troubles which are happening in other places in Europe. You want to express that. Yeah? Europeanization is a process of shaking of interiority. That was very important for Polish people and Polish cultural stakeholders. It is a process which is going from the level when you are focused on tradition to the level being more open, which means demonstrated the will of create culture based on exterior inspirations. Yeah, you are not only on the interior inspiration, but only on exterior. So they are in fact they are defining some openness. Yeah, the process of openness. They are opening from being very focused on tradition and interior problems to the more open, to being more open and focus on exterior inspirations. Europeanization process, general mental and urban change. Okay, so they mix a lot of things, like the process of opening, mental opening, but also urban change. Of course, we are talking about city. Yeah, we're still talking about city and citizens. Yeah, and their interaction. So Europe today aims at ecological city management, participation model for decision-making process, transport sustainability. I think we are still behind in Poland. Yeah? Definitely, we are marching in a second row. So for me, the European city is the ecological city with a transparent public management. That's what people would like to have. The city must be like. Something very local, regional is European at the same time. Yeah, this is different issue. Yeah. Local and European in the same time. Yeah, there's no contradictive mechanism. Yeah, it could be in the same time. These two elements, which there's there's no point to contrast of these two elements. The Silesia region, which Katowice is the capital of, Silesia region, the south region in Poland, has its own local culture, which is protected by its people for years. Yeah, they demonstrated very much locality. People from Silesia region, because Silesia region has very strong cultural identity in my country. So they still, demonstrated very much, local culture. So summary: respondents express, in general, they express belief in common Asian values, as a European values. Yeah, common Asian values as a European values. Yeah, they make it is kind of intellectual European tradition, of course. Yeah. Then local culture is a part of European one. Yeah, this is what I said before. Yeah, so there's pars pro toto. There's no any distance or not necessarily contrast. It's a pars pro toto. Yeah, it's a pars pro toto mechanism. Process of shaping of interiority complexes, something really, really Polish. I mean, in my country, very much more observing, you know, that the is participating in international competition, in culture international competition, help people to shaping of interiority complex. Yeah. Then culture is becoming an area of practicing democracy, which is something new, to the Polish citizens. I believe that Europe was and still in multicultural phenomenon, complexity of identity. That was very, very much and strong experienced by people, you know, that the complex of identity in each cities. Then European identity belonged to modern and postmodern metropolis. I know I should finish. Practical reference addressed to the city. Yeah, the city was important, but of course we are searching city, you know, city idea. Europeness as a process of developing the city and its institutions from province to metropolis. That was the ambition. You know, you would like to transform Polish city from provincial scale to metropolitan scale. Yeah, that's a kind of ambition. You know, they would like to. They demonstrate. The organizers demonstrated. Europeanization is a standardization of habits. That's important still. Rules for public management, rethinking the history of the city. Yeah. So that was like a research for each group to research what the city was and how the city is today and what it could be in the future. That was this kind of thinking, you know. They always think about past and how past influenced on contemporary image of the city and how we can change it, you know, how we can avoid such bad memory or bad experience and, you know, transform it into positive feeling now. Yeah, that was something which they thought about. Cosmopolitan city versus European city, that was something which they also appointed. That is different idea. European city is cosmopolitan. Sometimes they think it's the same. Yeah, it's very close to each other, I think. But some of the respondents really pointed it as a different. And infrastructure development of the city, this is of course. And last slide. So just to sum up, Europeness, in fact, my hypothesis found the result was really proved that Europeness, which I regarded as something which coming from the axiology, it is common ancient values, democracy, but originality, for example, and acceptance for multiculturalism and diversity. Yeah, that's what people expressed. Then European dimension, city and management. These two elements were very much, you know, explored and defined. Like European dimension was written by the European Commission that it is a cooperation, which demonstrate diversity, cultural diversity. But responders is not that. Only partly. For responders, European dimension is a city, is a European city, and the definition of European city, which is good, clean for workers, etc., with a transparent management, public management. Yeah, that's for people regarded as a European dimension. So management is very important for Polish people, you know, and they associated with the European dimension. That this is European dimension, you know, the management. And Europeanization is mutual relations between, it's something which could be really referred to European dimension by the definition of the European Commission, but no, people just think that Europeanization, mutual relations between local and European, they always, you know, compare this. What is the local, what is European, how we can reach European, and how European can reach us. Yeah, they always, you know, that this process, and that refers to the identity, you know, the complex identity. Why I am Polish, and I'm coming from Krakow. This is Małopolska, so Małopolska identity, then Krakowian identity, then Małopolska identity, then Polish identity, then European identity. Yeah? And that's how we compare all of these identities. But in fact, people found out that we have this complex identity. There's no more one identity. Yeah, there's no more one identity. They always have to deal with a complex identity. That's it, I think. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for our speaker? Okay, we're going to start at the front and move back. I would just like to remind you, if you have a question, could you please come up into the aisle just to speak up a little louder?
Okay, I'm Hugo from Brazil.
Okay.
When you talk about the acceptance of multiculturalism in the responders, do they include somehow out-of-Europe elements that make part of the present culture, European culture nowadays? Out of Europe, like immigrants, refugees. Do they talk about that?
No, not much, not really. I think when we think about multiculturalism, we think about European people, European nationalities, I would say. They will not really went deeper, in that definition. But I think for Polish people, rather, is first step is to understand multiculturalism means Swedish, Ukrainian, Belarusian, that we are all create a common Europe. Yeah? But Polish people are really not used to foreigners very much, especially from outside Europe. Of course, in a big cities,
single religions of Catholicism, they're over 80% of the Polish are Catholic, and that's also identified amongst the nation.
Yeah, Poland was, but it's still, because we have no colony tradition, like Western European countries. We were, in fact, colonized by German or by Austro-Hungarian, and Russia. So we have a lot of foreigners from outside Europe. So people not very, I don't want to say that they're not open, because in a big cities, like as I said, big city, it is a cosmopolitan city as well, also in Poland. So of course people are more open for multiculturalism. But I rather say that it is open for multiculturalism in the context of European nations, not Asian, not very much, from outside Europe. I would say that, but we really didn't went through that deeper. Yeah?
We have time for one last question.
I'm sorry, Paul.
Please come up.
Yes, my name is Alessandra. I'm from Italy.
Can you come closer?
Thank you for your presentation, first of
You're
all.
welcome.
Second of all, so you have analyzed how the European Capital of Culture competition actually brought a lot of positivism and kind of build back the trust in the people towards the European Union in Poland. But I wonder, what did you say to all those people that instead of what would you do to address the criticism and the people that say that this competition is just a way to kind of do festivalization instead and do use this competition as a commercialization of culture? How would you address this criticism? And then second question, this worked in Poland, but there's a lot of areas in Europe right now where people and citizens, local citizens, have a lot of distrust towards the European Union. So would you use the European City of Culture competition in other areas of Europe as well as you used it in Poland? And do you think it's a system that works everywhere?
Exactly. So what do you think by other areas of
Europe?
Yeah.
Yes, for example, Spain, where people just Barcelona, kind of the example.
And what do I suggest?
Yes, how would
you?
you address to all those people that have a general distrust towards Europe? Do you recommend this European City of Culture competition to other?
As a ECOC competition for other cities?
Yes.
I'm no specialist on everything. I'm a specialist on the European Union culture policy and this European culture programs of the EU. Of course, I'm starting from the second question. Okay, so the ECOC program rising very much of awareness of the city, of the citizens, and it's a really huge project. It's a huge project because as an organizer, you should organize a 1 year duration of the festival from January to December, 1 year, and month by month we will organize 1,000 of activities and events and concerts, etc. So it's a high budget, international, multi-level and multidisciplinary project. It's really a huge project. Of course, you're getting a lot of money for this project from your country, from local government, but also from the European Commission in the framework of Melina Mercouri Award. So, so having this money and having good artists and good managers, you will do miracles. You can do many nice things really for 1 year. But of course you can have a failure as well. If you don't have enough good managers, don't have enough artists, but you will have, for culture is a very exclusive situation because you have a lot of money. Because organizing this festival under Commission recommendation, and within this program, ECO's European Capital of Culture program, is you really have high budget, you know. So it's a very good situation for culture. So you can do really many things, and it's up to you. In majority of the program, the idea of the program up to the organizers. So so I have really, of course, I have a very positive attitude to this program because it helps cities and raise awareness of the citizens and promote culture, promote the city, promote the history of the city as a huge promotion machine, so to say. But of course, people complain that there is this or only this. Yeah, that there is nothing. That this European Capital of Culture has nothing to do with real exploration of what people creativity in the city, in a different level, you know, of their professionalism and you know, and vision of culture, etc. So, but it depends. You know, Wrocław was successful, but you can find a lot of criticism still of Wrocław. You can find a lot of criticism. Sibiu from Romania, I don't know if it's from Romania was very successful. It's a very small city. But also you can find a lot of criticism that it was too local, not enough international, very much focused on the local culture activities and local creativity, not enough European, things like that. But summa summarum, yeah, to sum up, I think the program is excellent. If you can use this machine in a proper way, and you fulfill your ambition and your ideas, having this really strong and high budget, you will do a really nice city. But depends on. So I would recommend the program, yeah, for many cities. And now is a strong competition for it between cities. Yeah, there's strong competition because of the competition for a really high budget money. Yeah. Europeanization, yeah, Europeanization. I can't find it. Yeah, I think it's enough. Yeah.
Okay, let's thank our speaker one more time.